What I tell people all the time, and I use the term relationships,
Yeah.
sports has played such a key part in my entire life, both
Yeah.
personally, as I say, and my career. I've met so many people, and the whole connection is about where did you go to college?
Right.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Did you play there? Did you not play there? The bowl games coming up. You attended Michigan or you attended one of the big schools. Everything or most things, the connection, and I deal with thousands and thousands of people throughout my career. I would say over 90% of my connection has been through sports.
Welcome again, everybody, to another episode of the Zelnik Exchange. I'm your host, Cory Zelnik. Today, I have my good friend, Daniel Liebman, and I'm going to call him Danny throughout the show because that's how I know him. Danny and I go way back in a fun sort of way, and we'll talk about that as we work our way through. Let me give a little read on Danny, and then we'll go from there. Daniel Liebman is the president and CEO of Veteran Sourcing Group. Veteran Sourcing Group is an IT and non-IT staffing firm doing business across the entire country. VSG is a service-disabled, veteran-owned business that is certified by the National Veterans Business Development Council. Daniel has been in the staffing industry for about 35 years. He's born and raised in Bayonne, New Jersey, and lives in Manhattan now. And Danny and I know each other probably in a weird way almost all of those 35 years because we're both a little older now. But we'll dig in on that. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh no, this is exciting. I know we've talked about it a lot about getting you in here, and I really want you to dig in for me on your background in terms of this business, because I think it's a very interesting business. I did my diligence and read about it, but we don't talk about it every day. We're oftentimes spending time here talking to real estate people. We've drifted apart from that from time to time, and I want to hear more about your industry, and certainly when it ties to veterans and things like that, that's an important part of my life and what I think about in the world today. So please tell me the story. How did it start? Where are we at? And where's it going?
Well, it's ironic that you and I have the connection through basketball and the New York Knicks.
Yep.
I always tell people everything in my life revolves around basketball. So when I went from high school, I ended up going to college and played college basketball. Became a Hall of Fame basketball player in college.
Nice.
Was voted one of the top 20 players in the state of New Jersey, played in a college all-star game, got a pro contract to go overseas and play it in the Philippines. At the time, I just was invited after trying out for the Maccabee Games. Mm-hmm. So I went to the Maccabee Games, won a silver medal. One of my highlights of my life was Pele gave me my award.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I represented the United States on the podium and got the silver medal from Pele. But when I came back home, I had several offers to go play overseas in different countries. And at the time, my college coach got me a high school coaching job. And one of the players on the team, his father was a chairman and president of a large staffing firm. And he took a liking to me, this kid from Bayonne. Back then they didn't call it swag, but I guess he liked my swag at the time, according to him and his wife. Offered me a job to work in his company. I was living in Bayonne, born and raised, and I was commuting into the city, Port Authority, and working on 747 3rd Avenue. And that's how I got involved in the staffing business. I worked there for over 20 years. And then years later, I decided, the big thing I talk about all the time is relationships, both personally and professionally. It's the most important thing. It's not what you know. I believe it's who you know. Mm-hmm. And so I started my own staffing firm. John Cassesi was retired. He came out of retirement, and him and I started a company called C&L Group. And then years later, we met a gentleman by the name of Bob Jones. Okay. And we saw a thing on homeless vets in San Diego on 60 Minutes. So we thought, something, we're in the staffing business. Why don't we try to give back to vets, family members of vets, and diversity across the board? Sure. So, for example, last year, we placed over 450 diverse candidates across the United States. How Veteran Sourcing Group came about, from seeing this episode on 60 Minutes, we met a gentleman by the name of Bob Jones. Mm-hmm. Bob Jones was a West Point grad back in the 60s. You were able to commission, and he went Air Force. And on his 69th mission over Hanoi, was shot down and held captive 5.5 years. He was one of the most incredible, decorated heroes you'll ever meet. He is the chairman. He's retired, lives in Hawaii, incredible guy.
Okay.
And we went to market as a service-disabled veteran-owned business. Years ago, one of our biggest clients, one of the biggest banks in the world, came to us and said, we want to see that you're a legit diversity company. So we had to get certified by the National Veteran Business Development Council.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, so how do you become that? Like, what is there a test? What do you have to provide for proof, or is there something?
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork.
Okay.
Time consuming. It costs a lot of money.
Right.
And it's full council committee that approves you. And thank God, after all these, it's been 14 years now that we've been approved by the National Veteran Business Development Council. And it shows and proves that you are a legit diversity company.
Sure.
A lot of companies out there may say they're legit, they're a diversity company. They have certain certifications. This is coming from a major bank that held us to this, that we had to get certified, which we did. And it's been a great certification to have. And then we went to market as, we deal with all the major banks, brokerage firms, insurance, telecommunication, healthcare throughout the entire country. Mm-hmm. And I've been very blessed through relationships, through networking.
Right.
Big thing is to get on these vendor lists. So it's not easy. It takes a lot of time, effort, emails, meetings, breakfast, lunch, maybe a Knick game.
Right.
Going into the Delta, people get excited.
I hear you.
The whole basketball background has played such a key part to my entire life. So everything that I do has to do with basketball. My friends, my career, my wife. I met my wife. She worked for the team doctor for the Knicks.
Oh, really?
I tore my labrum. I was actually, my best friend is the head trainer for the Knicks.
Nice.
So we were exercising. We were in the gym, and I tore my labrum, went to see the doc, and there was this young lady there, and 2 years later, we got married for the first time.
That's
and
wonderful.
Then we keep it with basketball. I ended up having my first kid.
Yes.
And I named him Hudson, and everybody thinks because I live in Manhattan, I named him after the Hudson River. Well, I was an all-county basketball player in Hudson County, New Jersey.
There you go.
Kept with the basketball theme of Hudson.
No, I think that's great. And Stephanie, my executive producer, who you spoke with yesterday, she's a Jersey girl, so she's listening in as we're taping, and she gets a kick out of that.
Well, we had a conversation about Jersey. I love New Jersey. She's Rutherford. I'm Bayonne, Hudson County, and we had a brief conversation about that.
That's nice. And we talk about the Knick games and such, and I'm watching Hudson grow up as you bring him to the Knick games. And I get a big kick out of that because my daughter, who's now 23, I had brought her to the Knick game starting when she was about 7 years old, and she's like she's my Knick partner. And to this day, and you'll see it over all the years, and you'll love it, and your boys being boys, and it's just an amazing thing. And I see you guys now, so I know where it's going to go. So,
well, I try to explain to him. I don't think he understands just yet. My dad would get I have a brother. Mm-hmm. Who I'm very close with. My father would get 3 or 4 tickets once a year.
Right.
And that wasn't until I was probably 10, 11 years old.
Sure.
We would go to one game a year. But my whole life, since, I've been listening to the Knicks on the radio with Marv Albert, and on Friday nights it was Cal Ramsey and Bob Wolf on Friday night games.
Yep.
So I go back to probably 6, 7 years old being a diehard Knicks fan and being a former basketball player. Like I mentioned earlier, it's my life. But I take him to the games, and through relationships that I've built over the years has given me a lot of opportunities to meet and network with people both at Madison Square Garden and outside of Madison Square Garden. So when I take them, for example, one of my high school coaches' daughter runs the big screen at Madison Square Garden. So when I go to the games, I reach out to her, and I became friendly with Eric, the photographer. So he'll come to my section and puts them on the big screen.
Well, and so, we're going to air this in a few weeks after it's taped and edited and all that stuff. But I think it was the last game when you guys were up on the big screen.
Right. Or according to him, he was on TV.
Oh, there you go. Exactly right. Because you and I were at the same games every game, which is pretty much every game.
And then I took him at halftime because I have a really dear friend of mine that's one of the head security guys, and he was in a lineup there when the players came out. Nice. So he got to high five the players.
It's great.
So
no, it's good stuff.
I don't know if he has a passion for it just yet, but that remains to be seen.
We'll see. We'll see. So going back to the business, it sounds like the way you describe it, and I see it a little bit in the real estate business, certainly not as often, but anytime you're involved with any kind of government related anything, it's, paperwork, it's, every piece of material on you personally, background checks and things like that. Is that the type of thing that you're going through with all this?
Absolutely. Each client you deal with, like a major bank, for example, each one of them has their own separate background qualifications that you have to adhere to, every single one of them. And when you talk about trying to get on to do business with a client, you have an RFP that you have to respond to. Sure. And that could be, it takes forever to fill out. There's so much information that is requested of you to try to become a vendor.
So that's you and the government to get on the client's vendor list? Or that's like, for example, hypothetically, I don't know who your bank is, and that's fine. It's not for air. But if you want to do work for Chase Bank, just pick a bank. And so you have to fill out paperwork for Chase Bank.
You have to become a preferred vendor.
Okay.
So a lot of companies may send you the RFP, the request for proposal. Yep. Others, you may know somebody within the account who happens to be a senior executive who may go ahead and recommend you. Okay. Each company, most companies nowadays use a thing called an MSP, a master service provider. Okay. And they're an outside company that runs the contingent labor within these major companies. Because, for example, you mentioned Chase. Chase has where they hire full-time employees. What my company does is it's temp to perm. Okay. So they'll bring a contractor on for 3 to 6 months. And then after 3 or 6 months, they have the right to hire the person without a fee. And it's a great opportunity for them because it's like a try-buy, leasing a car. After 3 or 4 years, you give back the car or you love the car. And it's the same with all the clients. So there's two things. We do temp to perm, some full-time placements, and then you have to get on the vendor list. And that could take years and years before you get on. It's what I call professionally persistent. Sure. You just got to keep going, building your relationships, knocking on doors, like I said before, emailing, meeting somebody for a cup of coffee, having breakfast, having lunch, taking somebody to a ball game where they get to know you, who you are as a person, and they want to do business with you. Right. So once you get on the vendor list, then you start receiving the job orders or what we call requisitions. And then you have to, every company has different rules. You're allowed to submit 2 resumes, 4 resumes. Most have to be a W-2. Others could be, a contractor or 1099. Every company has different rules of engagements.
It's so interesting.
One thing I just want to segue, I won't mention, the other day, it was kind of ironic, we're talking how with basketball, a major bank brokerage firm had a call with me last week about background checks. Okay. And they were going over the background checks, and they had 2 people, they were investigators on the phone with me. Okay. And retired FBI, retired police. And the guy is grilling me. And all of a sudden I was at home, and he said, by the way, what's that basketball in the background? Okay. And I said, I was a 1,000-point scorer in college. And next thing you know, the whole conversation changed and shifted to basketball for the next 25 minutes. He tells me he went to Boston College and he was very close with Howard Isley. I said, I know Howard very well. I actually see him at all the Knicks games. 2 nights later, I'm at the Delta standing there, and who's next to me? Howard Isley.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I took a picture with him and sent this guy.
That's great. You didn't say, where did you go to college?
I went to school at Fairleigh Dickinson University.
Nice. Can we say fairly ridiculous on this publication?
Yes, everybody says that to me.
I know.
Everybody.
I know. I had to get that one. It was an easy shot. So now I know this processes with these kind of companies and stuff. It's nice that you make the connection with this guy who's politely interrogating you, and then you have the Howard Isley thing. Does that does it benefit you when he's making a decision, or is it still going through the formalities? And it's nice that the guy knew that you played ball, but or can that sway something?
What I tell people all the time, and I use the term relationships, sports has played such a key part in my entire life, both personally, as I say, and my career. I've met so many people, and the whole connection is about where did you go to college?
Right.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Did you play there? Did you not play there? The bowl games coming up. You attended Michigan or you attended one of the big schools. Everything or most things, the connection, and I deal with thousands and thousands of people throughout my career. I would say over 90% of my connection has been through sports.
That's great. That's great. I think it would, as I'm speaking with you and listening to you speak, and I had mentioned to you that a lot of the podcasting that I do are a little bit more real estate related, but this whole entire conversation, is about sales and real estate, whether it's real estate sales or recruitment sales or what have you, it's all the same. And we all try, I try to educate the young brokers that work for me. I'm sure you do the same, that everything you do, the foundation is the relationship. Now, you have a great advantage with the basketball. Someone else may not, but they may have something else. Sure. And if you can plant that seed and create that opportunity, because we talk about, there's a fair amount of cold calling in our business. When you call, it's important to offer up something. Don't ask for something, right? You call up, hey, you want to sell your building? No. And then they hang up, and that's the end of that call. But if you call them up and you offer them something, information about the market, something surrounding, it starts to plant a small seed into that relationship. And, it's all part of what we do on a daily basis, no matter what we're selling.
Also, what's helpful is the networking. Once you get to know somebody personally and they get to know you as a person and see that the integrity that you have and the person that you really are, they then give you an endorsement to somebody within the company. Because I deal with some of these companies there's thousands of hiring managers that you have to get to know.
Right.
So it's all about the networking and building those relationships. And then that person ends up leaving one particular bank and goes to another bank. And that person takes you and gives you that recommendation. So it's all about the networking and those relationships, I keep saying, both personally and professionally. I drive on that big time.
No, I think it's great. So going back all the way back to like the beginning of this particular opportunity, was there anyone in your family that was in the service or service oriented that made you think about going down this path specific to the veterans?
Yeah, my dad was in the Korean War.
Okay.
And, always talked to me about, the Army and how he served and told me a lot of stories. And being in the staffing business and seeing this thing on 60 Minutes, it was like, it's time, we give back. Now, a lot of times when you're submitting and you're dealing with all these companies that we deal with across the country, you're allowed X amount of resumes within a time frame that you have to submit resumes, which a lot of times people don't care about diversity or getting a vet or a family member. They need to get the best person to do the job. So I came up with an idea of what I call outside of the just-in-time recruiting. Here's a program that I could work with you, Mr. Client or Mrs. Client, on trying to get as many diverse candidates, trying to get as many vets, family members of vets outside of the just-in-time MSP model that they have. Okay. These are the categories, 6 or 7 throughout the country that we can work together as a partnership where we could be successful in placing as many of those types of people.
Okay. No, I think it's fabulous. I think it's a great way. I think it's tremendous. Look, obviously you're making money doing what you do. You're doing great work, but I think it's also, I read it as a great give back, just the same. And so I'm sure you're proud of that. And if not, you should be, because I think it's tremendous.
And it's not just vets and diversity. It's all types of folks across the board. Because in today's technology, if you're looking for a Python developer or a Java developer, likelihood you're not going to find a vet or a family member. So it's people that, may even come from a different country at some point became a citizen here or a green card, because most clients only take green card or citizen W-2 employees.
No, I think it's fabulous. I think it's fabulous work that you're doing. And again, we know each other the way we know each other. But I did some reading because I wanted to at least come into a real conversation. But let's slide over to our mutual friend. I always like to throw a shout out. I still call it Carolyn Slovis. I don't know what you call if you go.
I actually call it Carolyn Slovis also.
She's in my phone. She's in my phone as Slovis. She's married probably 35 years, and her married last name is Golub, but I call her Slovis. So I'll make sure when Steph puts this up, we throw a shout out to Carolyn, so she sees this.
She is one of my dearest friends in life. She's been so helpful to me in so many different ways. Back in the day, there used to be a track at the gym. It was the Vertical Club.
Yep.
And I collect basketball T-shirts from all the days of playing in tournaments I attend now. And she would always make a comment to me about my T-shirts.
Okay.
So, we started running a lot. She got me into running. I mean, being an athlete and everything, I had no problem running. But let me tell you something. It takes a lot to run, as many miles as she would run. And I recall so well. I always tell people one thing. I preach humility to people.
Right.
Get rid of your ego. In this world, we need to have humility.
Sure.
But I have a very scary memory. And we used to go on the FDR Drive and run from 63rd and the Drive up to Gracie Mansion, and I couldn't make it.
Okay.
And here I am thinking, wow, I'm an athlete. I'm in some of these. But anyway, she got me into running. She's very competitive. And next thing you know, we're training for the marathon, her and I.
Yep.
So she got me into running marathons, and I became extremely close with her family. And she's one of my dearest friends and one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my lifetime.
Yeah. So quick background for our audience. So Carolyn and I went to high school, and she literally lived down the block from me, and we walked to school together. And so she used to joke that I was her bodyguard, walking her to school. And so our friendship goes all the way back to then. And there was the break off with everybody going to college in different directions, and then we sort of regrouped. And it's interesting. I didn't realize that you ran the marathons with her, but Carolyn and I when we reconnected, I just happened to be running in the park, and I was just getting into running a little bit, and I saw her with her friend Merrill, and then we started talking, and then all of a sudden, one thing led to another. And yes, Carolyn is probably like top 2 in the most competitive human beings you'll ever meet on the planet, right? And so we just started running, and then we started running more and more, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, there's a half marathon next month, let's go do it. And we did a couple of those, and then she got me into a marathon just the same. And
I actually ran with you and Carolyn one Sunday on the dirt path.
I remember.
I don't keep up with these people. So
I think that was the last time I ran that fast.
You guys are a lot better than I was at the time.
Yeah, it was different though. I played basketball like you played basketball, not to the level that you wound up playing in your career. But I considered myself, when I first started running, I would say, people say, "Oh, you're a runner." I said, "No, I'm an athlete who runs." And then I became a former athlete who runs, and then I became a runner. So I transitioned my way through.
You became a great runner, you and Carolyn together.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You used to have those runs I used to do on Monday night with her company.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Man, those runners were like unbelievable.
No, she's a beast, and we love her. Dan, we've been talking about getting together to do this for a while. And, I really enjoyed listening to the backstory. I knew some of the basketball stuff. I think the audience will appreciate it. I really enjoy the backstory of what your company does and what you do. And I just want to thank you for spending some time with me. This has been great. And I guess I'll probably see you at the Garden in the next few days.
Well, I want to thank you for having me. This has been great. When will I be at the Garden next?
Sunday night. Sunday night the 15th at 8:00, but I don't know when this is going to air.
I will be there on Sunday night. I'll actually be there on Thursday afternoon for the Big East tournament.
All right, beautiful. Beautiful. You enjoy those games. I enjoy our time together, and we'll do it again real soon.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dan.